to the call here. We had a powerful conversation last night, and we've gained a great friendship with this couple. Okay, today we're gonna have the male figure on the call. You've already heard from Miss Boston Fletcher a couple weeks ago. Phenomenal story. And listen, behind that great woman is also a great man. Listen, he's powerhouse. He is a husband. Okay, a great husband. He is a father. He is also a master business owner. Listen, before network marketing, he was also already in the financial arena, in the banking arena for over 20 years. He is a real estate professional, a real estate developer, mortgage banking. Listen, a lot of hats that he wears doing this, dealing with money. So really, IAM was definitely a perfect fit for him to come into this. But lending, he's been lending, an investor, developer, also a chairman. Okay, so I need you guys to understand he's still running multiple businesses. Okay, while also being a chairman inside this company. He's also a business coach. Been investing in the crypto arena well before I am as well. And so, without further ado, okay, I want to bring up his good friend, okay, cohort, okay, crushing the game in IAM right now, and of course, business partner, Mr. Boston Fletcher. I believe I made you a host here. If you made the call, just let us know you can hear us and you're on.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Randy. How are you guys?
What's going on, man? Guy, good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Brother, I am fantastic. Good morning to everyone, Legacy Worldwide. Good morning. Good morning. Just go ahead and show some love to your leader and your chairman, such a powerful man of God, father, husband, just overall someone who knows not only how to paint the vision, guys, but to really just hone in and show you the steps. So show some love for Randy and his beautiful bride, his beautiful wife, Wanda. Show some love, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Randy, brother, I'm just excited. We had a real conversation late last night, and it probably took me another 2 hours or so before I could have went to bed. I started to listen a bit to the book that you mentioned, and my mind was racing, and then it took me a little while. I fell asleep, and I said, you know what? I'm now waking up from a 5 a.m. challenge this morning. I'm asleep a little bit late, but it just couldn't happen. So really thank you, Randy. Thank you very much for just being able to put this together. Randy, where should we go? Where should we start? You know what I mean? Have all these amazing people on the call. I would tell them tag a friend and tag a friend and tag a friend and get everybody on the call, because when you got a powerhouse like Randy and inviting me to this call, guys, I'm just excited, truly excited. I'm honored to be here. So Randy, where would you want us to start, brother?
So, boss, I just want these calls are set up to be, I want full transparency, whatever you can get right, the raw story, who you are, where you come from, how you seen IAM, your story about IAM, and maybe, those obstacles. What was it that got you to chairman inside this company? I know you've already been a successful businessman before IAM, so you came here, brought some skills. What has been some of the obstacles, great times, good times, bad times? What do people need to hear to understand, like, what do I got to do to get to chairman inside this company?
Wow. That is so vast, but yet it's such something that we can all put our hands on. What Randy just said, it's vast, but something that we can put our hands on. I would say in regards to my start, like most of us, I think, I came from humble beginnings. I was a young man when I came into this country at the age of 9 years old, traveling from the West Indies, coming into America in the early 80s. And, it was a different feel, it was a different world for me, being able to now be exposed to all these big lights in New York City and everyone moving fast. And it's just, it was just a pace of, wow, I was in awe because I was a child, right? I was in awe because I was a child, but where I lived when we came into this country, when you're a child, you really don't know. You don't know what you don't know, even as an adult. But as a child, you take what is given to you and you just appreciate it, because you know that the leaders in your life at that point would be your parents, right? That will just pretty much, they want to nurture you and they want to give you the best. But at that time, ladies and gentlemen, we moved into Brooklyn, New York. And we were in an area, the street that I lived on, I remember it so vividly, it's called Pine Street. And the area we lived in was in between what they call the pink houses area of Brooklyn, where at that point, guys, when you start talking about this area, these areas is where, you know, gangs like you hear about Brooklyn, New York, the Decepticons and all these different gangs lived right there. Now we lived in a home and the projects were surrounding us. But, you know, at that point, you're a youngster, you just love what you see, you love what you're getting, and you're super excited until some reality kicks in as you start attending school and meeting people. And I want to understand why. I'm going to take you guys back on this journey really quick, because when I came here and I saw this, and then I started to attend school, Randy, and, you know, coming from the West Indies, you're coming with a certain kind of vigor, because whether you're young or you're older, you're coming, you're like, okay, well, you know, back on the island, we are not, you have to claim your ownership. Everything you do, you have to go down to the river to fetch water. You know, you got to wash your clothes with your hand on the scrubbing board. You got to hang them on the line with the clothespins, right? You don't have that fluffy bounce to put it in a dryer so the clothes will come out all fluffy in the end, right? The clothes are tough because it's hanging on the line, right? So you come here and you start attending school, and everything is about, okay, you know, I need to be first. I need to be first. I need to excel at this. I know this. I can learn this, right? And I was getting the, hey, you're not from here. Go back in the banana boat. You know, go back in the banana boat. I used to hear terminologies like, hey, you're an African booty scratcher. You know, people didn't even know who you are, where you're from, but because you have an accent, right? It was at that point, at that time, that, you know, I was getting that type of, you know, wording and those type of things coming to you. And you're a youngster. Keep this in mind, guys, because remember this, right? Remember this. Your subconscious mind will start to take things in that the conscious mind is constantly hearing if it's hearing it over and repeatedly. But at that point, I didn't understand that. All I knew is that, okay, well, I'm hearing this, but I'm still going to push forward. You know, I come from a place that we have to own everything. Even if it's your little shack, you own it, right? Even if it's your stall on the side of the road that you're selling watermelons, if you're selling mangoes, you're selling all star fruits, different type of things, you have to own it. So I'm coming here, and all I see with a family that brought me here is that they work hard. So I did the same thing. I worked hard. And from doing that, you know, we've moved different areas, and I've moved so many times in Brooklyn, New York, and it was never really, it was supposed to be a better movement, but it was always still an area that's rough. It's New York City. And so where I claimed my area of growing up, it was Brownsville, New York. And when I moved to Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, here I am, a youngster now, growing up in the Brownsville section of New York City, which is a really rough area in New York City. But my mom, my family was always about going to school. You know, the West Indian families, and most of you can, whether you're West Indian or not, you can attest as a minority or not even a minority. You know, some families, they drill schooling. Well, there's a pride that came with a West Indian household. It was a matter of, look, you will go to school, you will get a good job because you don't have a choice. I brought you into this world. Some of you might have heard that. I'll take you out if you don't follow these protocols, right? And, you know, it was that method of operation in which we were operating in. Now, I come from a big family. It's 10 of us, right? It's 10 of us. And it's an amazing thing to have a big family, ladies and gentlemen. It's an amazing thing. I'm the second to last. I'm the second to last. Now, well, I'm now the last, that's how they will put it, because we lost our youngest brother. You know, that's a story by itself, ladies and gentlemen. But it's an amazing thing to come from a big family, because I had family during this process. But I watched family go to school, spend the years in schooling, work hard. My mom was in the nursing field. She was a medical professional, and I watched her work hard, and it didn't make sense to me somewhere along the line. I'm going to school. It didn't make sense to me. You know, it was a thing of, okay, they're going to school, they're working, but I'm still hearing the complaining of when I need something, well, we don't have anything. Money doesn't grow on trees. You gotta wait. Like, we got a plan to do this, right? And so we found ourselves moving from Brooklyn to Queens, New York. right? We find ourselves, and so when you, in terms of when you're supposed to step up in life, guys, in New York City, you figure, oh, you moved to Queens, you've made it, right? Or you moved to an area called Long Island, right? So you like, we moved to Queens, but we had this beautiful home in Queens, but I still had to deal with the same struggle of literally watch this cycle of I cannot get the things that I needed to get. Now, let me back up really quick, because I told Randy, I said, Randy, we're going to be real transparent on this call. We're going to be real transparent. Can we be fully open? And I want to say this, guys. We grew up as a family that I was so close with my father. The boys are so close, right? They said normally boys are close with the mom, girls are close with the father. We were so close with our dad, so close. And when my mom came back, and she was the one who first pilgrimaged to Canada, to then the United States. And when she came back for us, and my dad had a beautiful job, he was military, and it's just a structure that we all followed. But then she took us and she brought us here. And when she brought us here and she did what she needed to do, the expectation was my dad was going to be following after. And we were so close knitted with our parents, and so close knitted with our dad, everything, we want to be locked arms with our father, right? And I want to tell you guys that coming to New York, being in the States, and growing up, having a strong mother who she put her foot down. My mom never played. She wasn't one of the passive moms that believe I'll let it slide. Okay, she ruled with an iron fist, right? Matter of fact, all the nieces and nephews called her Big Dangerous, right? And the thing there is, ladies and gentlemen, is we came here and with the expectation of sometime my dad would pilgrimage and join us. But you have boys, and boys need strong rulership. They need a figure, a male figure, beside having a female figure that's sturdy. They need a male figure in their life as well. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, there was a whole different story going on. A story that we didn't understand behind the scene. But needless to say, when my dad came to the country, he came without our knowledge, knowing that he came in. And no one, I've never shared this, because see, sometimes, here's the thing, awesome folks of the legacy world. Let me be really transparent to you guys. See, everybody wants to hear some type of downer story. I'm just not the guy who normally believes in giving a downer story. Everybody has a story. There's always a situation with everyone. But, I like to talk about, okay, this is what happened, but this is what's going on now. Let's keep things in sunshine and rainbows, right? That's what I've always professed and believed to be, and keep myself in that state of mind. But I want to be transparent with you guys, because there's somebody that might need to hear this, okay? There's somebody that might need to hear this, right? So he came into the country, ladies and gentlemen, but we didn't know. But we were all thinking, when is he going to come? When is he going to come? But there was a different situation happening. He had found a different life. He had wrapped himself up into a covenant, because what was happening here was obviously done, or we had no idea as youngsters. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you have young men that need the sturdiness of a father. So in the constant moving and the situations that was going on, there was no male figure that was dominant. We had brothers and they were trying to be sturdy, but there wasn't a father. And the way we locked arms and believed in our dad, that wasn't there. And that caused a major catastrophic meltdown with the boys. I'll be totally transparent with you guys. That caused a really serious thing, Randy. Randy, it's so serious that when you have a big family, it's an amazing thing, because you really don't need friends, because you have friends within your family. But when the boys don't have the direction, they start seeking other places to be able to be fulfilled. And that led to some real situations in the life of my family. It led to some things where brothers went into a field that most of us, we watch on television. And they became some of those guys, okay? They became some of those guys that you should fear. And it's not a nice thing, because along with that, ladies and gentlemen, what happened is, once you operate in that space, there's a lot that comes with it. So at a young age, trying to grow up, trying to be obedient to the rule of family, trying to go to school, trying to be a young man who can understand that there's limits to certain things, I still had to deal with the problems that came with the lack of a strong male figure that will be dominant in the home. That led me to visit so many facilities, prison facilities all over this country because the life of what some of these individuals chose, right? And I'll be honest with you guys, when I saw that, I said to myself, this is not where I need to be. This is not the direction I need to go. I need to figure out a way that I will be able to ascertain all things that I feel I can, but there must be the right way. There must be a way that will take me to the top without me having to do all what they're saying, get all these million degrees, or me going towards the street. Now, if somebody understand me, somebody feel me, go ahead and type feel me in the chat. Did somebody feel me? Because, you know, I don't know who's getting this or not, but I just want to be really transparent, because a lot of times people see the glory, but they don't understand or they don't know the story, right? They see the glory, but they don't know the story. And I'm not one to come on in front of people and say, hey guys, this is all what happened. No, because it's okay. You know, it is the past. But you have to connect it looking backwards. And sometimes you got to understand, let your past fuel your present, and your present will dictate your future. So that's the only reason I want to share this with you guys, because in that journey, something was born. You know, I was always a kid that we were a family. We loved music. We enjoyed ourselves, because I said it was 10 of us. And off of that 10, ladies and gentlemen, there were some beautiful offsprings produced. And where the number count today is probably about 32 nieces and nephews, right? About 32 nieces and nephews. And I want to say this because we had a lot of fun in the process of all the different things that was happening, which allowed me to develop a talent. Here I am going to school. I'm in Queens, New York. And because of my parents' situation, my mom is deciding, well, you know what, maybe we need to move back to Brooklyn. So now I'm going to Far Rockaway High School, and I'm in an area called Rosedale, Queens. So we got to drive in to Far Rockaway. So one of my brothers live out that way. So now I'm staying by him to go to this school. Now this school is a #1 baddest school that was around. And so in the process of this, I developed, you know, a talent of writing music. You know, I'm West Indian. We love the reggae music, love to dance, and I started to write music. Before you knew it, I was able to write R&B type music and rap type music. I just love the music game, right? So I'm going to school and I'm performing in all these talent shows, and I'm saying to myself, well, look, you know what? There got to be a way to become successful and me not have to go through all of this process. Guys, I was in that school. I talked about that school being a #1 bad school, you know, and I'm just going to fast track some things. I want you guys to understand, right? I got caught up in so many different things because why? The talent brought about a problem. Wow, this guy can actually perform. Wow, he's good, he's talented. Oh, this guy can dance. And it brought about issues growing up in school because, you know, these things happen. If most of you have gone through any kind of roughness in school, some enviousness happened, and it became a thing where we had such a situation, Randy. We had such a situation, brother, that I clicked up with a crew, and before you knew it, I had to leave that school. So the concept of my mom saying she was moving back to Brooklyn, it worked out for me because we had so much turmoil in that school that I had to leave and come back to Brooklyn, New York, right? Which is supposed to be rougher than Queens, New York. But we came back into Brooklyn, New York, guys. And so I am still now deciding, well, look, okay, all right. I was at my last year when I had to leave that school. So I had to finish schooling, okay, elsewhere to be able to go ahead and go towards a degree. And I'm traveling from Brooklyn, New York, right, to the school that we decided that I'm going to attend and to finish out to get my diploma and then go towards my degree. Ladies and gentlemen, I developed the skills, and I said to myself, I said, you know what? I remember telling my friends, I said, I don't like this. I'm going to be a billionaire. And they laughed. I said, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. I said, the next time you guys see me, I'm going to come back and I'll be driving a Lexus. I remember telling my friends this in Queens. So when you guys see me the next time, I will come back. When I graduate high school, I will come back and I will have a Lexus. They laughed. It was a joke for them. But I had a different type of feeling. I said, there must be another way, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how. But the move back to Brooklyn brought the how. Because what happened, ladies and gentlemen, is that when I got back to Brooklyn, I became friends with some individuals that, I was doing music. And then that individual connected me to a friend of his who he figured was well off and was entitled. That gentleman today is like a brother to me, who was his parents was into real estate. His parents were into real estate. And they had homes all over. And he would just go and collect the rent and help them clean up and fix things up. So here I am in Brooklyn, New York. We're back in Brownsville, and I am now, okay, I'm going to learn about this, okay? He said, why don't you come on out with me, help me pick up the garbage at my parents', man, and pick up some money. I'll give you a little something, just come through. I did it. And in the process of doing it, we had work to do. I learned how to do a drywall. I learned how to do sheetrocking, right? I learned how to do taping. I learned how to paint. In the process of doing this, ladies and gentlemen, where these properties were, they were in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And in doing this, we constantly went back and forth to help and manage the parents' properties. We met some guys who then told us, if you find us these properties that's in distress, we'll pay you $10,000. Now, this is in the 90s, okay? This is in the 90s. They're telling us about $10,000. Now, I've already came from a life that already showed me so much and is still showing me so much, okay? And they said, well, look, we'll pay you $10,000. We thought to ourselves, okay, whatever. But we're in the neighborhood. These were some Israeli Caucasian guys. And obviously, they didn't want to be in a neighborhood that was predominantly African-American, that all the time they were shooting and murder in the neighborhood. So we found the properties because we know the neighborhood and we're knocking on doors and people are into issues, and we found them and we did pass it on to these guys. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what happened is they made the money and they did actually come back and pay us. They came back and they paid us. Now, what that did for us is that we didn't think about, oh, I got 10 grand. I was super happy about the 10 grand. And I blew it, by the way. Got in a lot of trouble because my mom thought I was doing drugs. She thought I was in the drug game, okay? And what happened was we thought about, if they paid us $10,000, how much money did they make? How much money did they make? But they came back again. But when they saw the grind that we had, the hustle that we had, they then invited us up to their office in Long Island, New York. They invited us up to their office some months in to show us what they do and the layout. Now, at this point, I'm in college, starting college, and I'm seeing this. And now they're giving us the layout and they're telling us this is how we make money. This is what we do. This is how we buy, fix, flip. This is how we invest. And we started to learn the process. And they kind of favored my friend, and he was the lead. And I was just the man, the wingman beside him learning. And in that process, guys, we got involved in the real estate market, not from a agent perspective. These guys turned out to be mortgage brokers. So they started to teach us from the financial perspective. At that point, I didn't know any brown-skinned brother that was in that space. I knew that there was a few brown-skinned sisters and brothers in the real estate space of as an agent, but not in that space. And I say that to you because understand this, that we learned finances. And I said, okay, my mom said I talk a lot. I always talk a lot. I talk so much. You need to be a barrister at law. You need to be an attorney. You need to be an attorney. I started to say to myself, why don't I learn about business? These guys are teaching us business. I like this. I made $10,000. Here it is. I'm making some more money. They're literally exposing me to a space that people don't believe in. People do not believe in. So we've learned this, and they literally set us up an office to be brokers attached to their license and do this in Brooklyn. And that history was made from there, ladies and gentlemen, because from then we went on to do this. And we did this so powerfully that we excelled up the ranks to then learn about how do we get the broker's license. And from getting the broker's license, how do we put the right people in place to now find out to get the banking license? So we went through the courses, we connected with the right people. And in this journey, ladies and gentlemen, in this journey, I had a young lady I was dating at this point, and she was a nurse, and she would be the nurse for a multi-billionaire tech guy out in the Hamptons, okay? And I am on this journey, and she asked me a few times to drop her up there because she didn't want to take a bus all the way up to the Hamptons. So I dropped her up one day, and I got a ticket. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. I got a ticket going there. And when I got there, they asked, why were we late? And I told them what happened. The wife called me to the side. Her husband, Mr. Feinstein, was sitting in a room with a gentleman. Gentleman had a hat on and glasses on. Listen to this really good. Gentleman had a hat and glasses on, okay? And the lady said, what took you guys so long? So when we were stopped, when we were coming up here and I got a ticket, she said, give me the ticket. I said, ma'am, she said, give me the ticket. She looked at the ticket, disappeared for a few, and came back and said, you're good. It would be his pension if anything happens to your license. I couldn't understand that. I said, what do you mean? Now, mind you, where we were is at a 32,000 square foot mansion with another home that all the guests and the help lived on. The gentleman in the kitchen happened to be her husband. When they're away, he loved to take care of the kitchen and cook. He doesn't want the butlers to do anything. That's his thing when they come up to the Hamptons. And he said to me, why is it that when there's no money, you all lose your mind? He said, when there's no money, we make money. We create a way to make money. Now, I didn't understand this, but the gentleman that was sitting there with him that chimed in and said that there must always be consistency and there must always be a way to make money while you still sit still. I learned who that gentleman was a few years later, because when he said his name, I had no idea. That name happens to be Bill Gates. I had no idea who that gentleman was. It was just in a mansion that I was dropping someone off. That same young lady that I dropped off there, I was just doing that because this was someone I was in a relationship with. But when I heard that, it took a different toll on my mind, being in the financial space, that, oh my God, as I met different individuals and they start talking about the levels of finance and how we can get better and how we can warehouse money in the banking space and how we can take over New York, we connected with some Italians that my buddy knew, and the rest was history in the mortgage banking game. We then forged an organization called First Capital Home Mortgage. First Capital became not only the number one, but we developed 65 branches of mortgage banks. My partner and I, at one point we parted ways, and I went off and created my own lending space. And then we came back together. And I want to tell you this because in this journey that I'm sharing with you guys, all this time, as I'm stepping up, 2002, in the kitchen of my sister's home, a home that my same partner and I helped her to attain, they had an intervention for Mr. Boston. My mom, my sisters, and my dad, they had an intervention because they said I was living too fast. And how is it that I'm buying these type of vehicles? Now, I say that because at that time, the 745 came out. And I had it on order and bought it brand new, and it was $100,000. And they said, no way that a brown-skinned kid should be buying this type of car. You're going to be arrested. They're going to lock you up. You're probably doing X, Y, Z. Who do you think you are? Donald Trump? I remember this like yesterday. Brooklyn, New York, Thomas Boylan, in the kitchen, they were having this conversation with me. Who do you think you are? Donald Trump? You're not rich. They couldn't understand what was happening until my sister's husband, who was one of the top guys in the New York City Transit. Listen, how God is good. Y'all not understanding now. She raised us in God, but I strayed away. See, I didn't talk about that stray away part yet until my brother-in-law, who was a top dog in the New York City Transit Authority, had to dispatch men out one day to like 3 blocks of development that was happening in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, because there were some water pipes that bust and they needed to do some cleanup, and they needed to shut it off for the developments that was happening, until my brother-in-law came out to this location and ran into my best friend and said, "Who is in charge?" And he said, "Yeah, what do you mean who's in charge? Stally's in charge." Now, everybody called me Stally. That's a whole different thing in the music world. So he said, "Stally." So what do you mean? He said, he controls everything here. The tune in my family, their mouth changed. I've been blacklisted. I've been the black sheep. You're going down the same path. You've been amounting to nothing. You're going to jail. You're going to spend the rest of your life in jail, because they couldn't understand how money was being made. Listen to this. And I didn't go and became the PhD doctor and worked as an attorney or whatever it is, as what was the picture that was painted to us. You're making fast money. Ladies and gentlemen, they didn't understand what you guys know as a fix and flip. They didn't understand what that meant. They didn't understand that you can be talking to your cousin. I'm giving you guys today's analogy of this real quick. They don't understand that I could be talking to Randy and Wanda. Randy and Wanda could have a building that they're in distress with. Randy said, "Boston, I want to let this building go." Building is valued at $2 million. Randy said, "We have a mortgage of $500,000. I said, "Randy, the building is in distress and it needs $400,000 worth of work." Randy said, "Tell you what, man, I will take whatever." I gave Randy and Wanda $1.2 million for the property. I put another $450,000 in the building. When it was done, the building is now worth 2.4. I sold the building to an investor for less than 2.4 so they can have some equity position in the building at 2.1, leaving them 300,000, because I'm not greedy. But now, guess what? That 1.2 is already gone. Randy then ate their money. I sold it at 2.1. Guess who's making money? I got my 450 from my investors or whatever I put out back. Somebody do some numbers. If you're some math people on the call, 1.2 is gone, 450 is gone. So that's what? That's 1.650 that was put into the property to be worth 2.4 that I sold at 2.1. Do you see my profit in between the 1.650 and the 2.1, less the closing cost? I don't think somebody's hearing me. I don't think somebody's hearing me. Y'all thought y'all was holding on. Y'all, if you've been on this call and you might have dropped off, or you might have been sitting there saying, "Why is he going back?" I'm about to show you how millions are accumulated and how fast it can be accumulated. Your belief dictates it all. Your belief dictates it all. See, here's the thing. I didn't understand some of these things. I was just doing it. See, I didn't understand. See, what I was reading then was information towards my growth, information towards the situation that I was trying to deal with. I wasn't going ahead and reading self-help books at that time. But I grew up in the church, and I strayed from the church thinking I was doing this, thinking that I was the one who was building everything. But I didn't understand that book every day that my mom always had us saying, everyone, when you arise in the morning, in the weekends, you got to go study a book of the Bible. My mom always, everything was go read a book. Matter of fact, I need you to give me the books of the Bible. What are the books of the Bible? You study this, you study that, and we had no choice. I didn't understand what that was doing, but what happened was I strayed away. I strayed away, ladies and gentlemen, and I was making money. We developed an organization where at that point we were warehousing 300 million. So now as a warehouser of 300 million, I'm saying, look, we warehouse 300 million, we have a big pot to lend, and we're lending to the whole of the United States. And we have a lending portfolio now on the stock market. So guess what happens? Now I'm feeling myself, my brother-in-law, they learned now that, oh my God, no, he's into real estate. Well, how did he get into real estate? Well, he owned all of them buildings down there. They're developing all those new buildings by the hospital. So then the conversation now came about, so your family gonna be suffering and you're not gonna take care of your family? That's the conversation change. So your family gonna be suffering, you're not gonna take care of your family? Oh, I was going to jail, I was a terrible person just yesterday. I was gonna amount to nothing just yesterday. Who I thought I was, Donald Trump, just yesterday. But now everybody has a problem where you know I've been suffering with this. You know this family member need that. You know this, that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you what happens when you're in a journey and sometimes you don't even know the journey you're on, but you just move it. You guys are in this academy. You got to understand and see the picture of why you have been blessed to be a part of something that's bigger than you. That's what I had to learn. There was something bigger than me. That thing was called life. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to find your purpose. That's what I thought. See, in my studies, as I started to read and learn, you don't have to find your purpose. Now, listen to this. Listen to this really good. William Ernest Henley said something amazing. He said, you're the master of your fate. You're the captain of your soul. That's what he said in the poet Invictus. You're the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, right? That's what he said. This is what he said. Now, a lot of us, we don't know this, but we just do the actual work. We just actually put in the work, but we don't know really what's happening. What is the secret behind that? What is the secret behind him saying you're master of your fate, you're captain of your soul? What he should have said is that your brain, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this, listen to this. Your brain is like a magnet, and whatever you concentrate on deeply and you visualize it, you feel it with emotion and love, it will pull all things close to you. I'll say that again because maybe some of y'all might have missed it, okay? See, I didn't know this is what I was doing. I had a burning desire that I didn't understand how that worked. But the brain is so powerful. That's why there's nothing more powerful than the brain. There's nothing more powerful. You couldn't tell me anything when I started to learn this. It wasn't a matter. I didn't go to business school. Let me clear this up. Oh, hold on. I got about 10 PhDs from knowledge of study. The thousands of books, the study, but listen to this. Let me throw all those books to the side. No book I read meant nothing to me because I'm an action guy. Boots on the ground. Your actual experience. The book just puts it in perspective. But see, when you have action, when you put your boots on the ground, when you understand what the actual work means, then you will understand how you will get to the level. See, some of us, we get the book and we become textbook junkies. That's what happens. We become textbook junkies. You don't know who I am. I got 2 master's degrees. I'm a Spelman woman. You don't know this. I went to Clark. Ooh, I went to Morehouse. Ooh, I went to Penn. Really? You got all this book knowledge, but you got no boots on the ground knowledge. You don't know what it is to really actually make it happen. So you got to understand that the book put it into perspective, but they must be works. This is why when you hear the concept, faith without works is dead, you'll hear people give a lot of analogy in terms of, well, there mustn't be any physical work. Here's the thing. Physical work comes after the actual spiritual work. See, there's the inner work that has to happen. That's why I said, whatever you concentrate on vividly, whatever you emotionalize, internalize, whatever you feel at the highest level of emotion and love and attraction, the brain magnetizes. It's so powerful, it will attract that which you think of to you. And I just knew that I want to be a billionaire. That was my concept. I want to be a billionaire. And from moving into the space of mortgage banking, it allowed me to get into investing because as a mortgage lender, you're going to come across all types of deals. And that led into the space all the way up to where when the real estate issues were happening, crypto was coming into place. When we were going through the real estate downfall, crypto was being put into place. It came before me and 3 of my partners, and we talked about it. At that point, we're on Wall Street doing business because we have a portfolio as a mortgage lenders. And we thought it made a lot of sense, but people that was around us, me as an analyst, they weren't really looking at that like, you guys are crazy. No, there's nothing about this that made sense. But the greatness of me being a person who still was pushed to understand the word of God and know that there is a creator above me, it was saying something different to me. And it just so happened that my 2 partners at that time was feeling the same way. They were feeling the same way. It didn't matter what anybody was telling us. It was just telling us, this is a space that's going to be major. How can we lose? We're investing and we're losing money back and forth. You lose some, you win some. You do a deal, the mortgage deal, or you do a building, or you do a development. It may not work out the way you wanted to. You break even. So how do we look at things? As fast talking New Yorkers, because people say you talk fast. I tell them, you know what? You're just listening slow. That's all it is. I talk fast, you listening slow. So let's try this again, okay? So we were moving, and we decided, look, if we invested in this thing called Bitcoin that we've been learning about, the worst that can happen is we lose a couple of M, and what? Now that sounds crazy to some people right now, but I want everybody to think about this real quick. Randy and Wanda give you an amazing opportunity to be a part of an amazing organization. You all joined. You started to make $100,000 every day, 100,000 every day, 100,000 every day. And Randy and Wanda proposed something that's amazing, and you got to put 200,000 in it, but you're making 100,000 every day. Would your decision to put 200,000 in be easier or harder? Somebody type the answer in the chat for me. Would it be easier or harder? You're making 100,000 every day. That's right. So somebody listening, huh? Somebody's listening. You're making 100,000 every day. They put you in a position to invest 200K, right? So why would that decision be hard? It's going to be easier. So we looked at it and said, look, we're making money all the time. It's only a few M. We lose it. Hey guys, what? We did business all the time. We've lost, but guess what? When you're in a space of making money, guess your mind shifts it different. Your magnetization of your brain is different. You need to understand the thinking process is different, because now you're more a sharpshooter on your target when you make the decision, because guess what? You're not making an emotional decision when there's money and abundance in your space. You're making a calculative decision when there's money and abundance in your space. There's not an emotional tie to it. So what that does is the brain, see, here's what people forget, this is why you invest in being a part of I Am so powerful, because the brain is magnetizing greatness in return, not lack. The brain is magnetizing greatness in return because you're in a space of abundance, okay? So now the brain is not seeing, oh, I'm not gonna make anything. You do 100,000 every day. So we got Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, 2010 for $62.50. 2010, $62.50. Lost a lot of friends in that process. Everybody was talking trash. But something magical happened in 2012. A lot of zeros happened. A lot of zeros happened in 2012. And it was such an amazing thing. Now, a lot of things came with that, but I'm gonna tell you that it was a move of the Most High. It wasn't my move. Because here's the thing. We got into these spaces, we made the money, then I felt so powerful. And I thought, well, Boston, you the man. You got this. You don't need nobody. You did this. And I want to tell you, in that process of the you did, the Most High moved in, because he was sitting back waiting for his glory. And I thought, no, it's all about me. And he was just to the side waiting for his glory, and I didn't give the glory. And I want to tell you this, as fast as he can give, that's how quick he can take. And when I talked to Randy last night, I told Randy, I said, Randy, I feel like I have a closed fist. So I was talking to Randy about last night. I said, Randy, how do you expand, brother? I so admire you in your beautiful life. I said, how do you expand? I said, I feel like I have a closed fist. Now, you guys may say, well, what is he talking about? Because I made millions and millions of dollars. And when I thought it was me, the Most High took it. I don't think some of y'all understand me. He took it. He put me down to my knees. He put me down to my knees. He put some things in my space that we're not even ready for right now. We don't have enough time on this call. He put some things in my space that shut me down. That had me in such a rut, that took everything away from me. And then I had no choice but to drop to the knees, be obedient to the people that he put in my life to bring me to him. Here's the thing, he was showing me a little bit of light, even in the darkness. Even in the darkness. He said, there's no man can come to me but through my son. But here's the problem. I thought I was big and I was bad. I didn't understand that it says, seek ye the kingdom and all its righteousness, and every other thing will be added onto you. Because I started to talk. Let me be, Randy, I'm going to be real with some of y'all real quick. I'm going to be real. I started to talk this universe talk alone. Let me be real with some of y'all. Yeah, you know, the universe got me. Universe did this for me. It's just like, yeah, that's how the universe did it. I did it. The universe did it for me. That's right. The universe did it. Because I was popping collar. I was getting you. Hold on a minute. The universe? Really? I'm going to be real with some of y'all. Real talk today. Because see, I've traveled this world. I've studied under so many. Because I've learned so much over the time. After making money, I wanted to know. I was inquisitive. I didn't want to believe. I was doubting Thomas. So I didn't want to believe. That's why I strayed away. So I had to learn about the Quran. I had to learn about the Torah. I had to learn about the books. I spent time with the monks. I needed to know, well, everybody say this, but I don't believe this. So I started to pop my collar. And when he did this, trust and believe, my own family who had turned on my side, I remember when he stripped me of all things. He stripped me of 132 properties that I had. Listen to this real good. Stripped it, okay? 132 properties, had me on my knees, and the same mom that birthed me, I remember being in a position and I needed to then reach up and ask, and that the mom turned the faucet off. She said, I don't know, we need to talk about this. I need to talk to your sisters and everybody to see if we can put you up. I don't even think some of y'all hearing me. She said, I'm gonna need to, I don't think we can put you up. I'm sorry. Maybe there's an amulet place or something hiring. Maybe you need to go get a job. I think some of y'all are here. When you give it an opportunity, first you gotta know who you are. But most importantly, you need to know whose you are. And I ran away from that. But I can tell you how the redemption is so awesome. I can tell you when he said, write the vision, make it plain, the days they will see it shall run from it. He said, though it seem that it may tarry, it shall surely not tarry, but come to pass. See, some people don't understand the journey. See, he broke me, put me in a place of darkness. But here's what he was doing. He was also preparing something that was fine wine for me. He was preparing something that was fine wine for me because he already knew my story. But see, I didn't know my story. I thought I needed to find my purpose. But I didn't know, Randy, that your purpose is already in you. See, you already have the completion of all things that you seek for. The Most High just brought you here to start it. See, this is what I need you to understand. See, you don't need to seek your purpose. It's already in you. All things for you is already done and accomplished. It's already graced. But guess what? He brought you back here to start what he's already accomplished. Oh, somebody might have missed that. Imagine your race has been finished, but you physically need to come and start it. See, I didn't understand it, but he was cooking a fine wine. You know what he was cooking, guys? Here's what's so crazy. Remember I told you back in 2002, I was in that kitchen and they were talking about, do you believe you're Donald Trump? But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. He had a beautiful young lady that was born around the corner from where I was standing in that kitchen in the 80s. A beautiful young lady. She was born around the corner. Listen to this. And I was on Thomas Boylan. She was born around the corner from my block in the 80s, right? While I was going through what I was going through later on, what happened is when she was born in Brooklyn, New York, the parents said, no, we're going to send you back to the West Indies. We're not gonna have you be in the island in America growing up without no roots. So they post her back to Jamaica, right? So she had to spend her years in Jamaica. So while I was going through all my process, while the grace, whatever he had for me, and he knew that I was gonna do what I was going to do, he had a young lady, fine wine, stirring up, preparing me, preparing for her, preparing both of us. Because guess what happened? He knew that I was going to be in that darkness. He knew that he was going to take all things from me because I was stupid. I thought it was the universe. I thought, yeah, this thing was so fired up. Boston, you run things. You got this. You warehousing 300 million. You got all these properties. You the boss. You've been going here. But guess what? He led a young lady to go through her trials because she had to get beaten up in her trials because she had to be prepared for a thick skin for the Boston that was already predestined for her. But I thought it was about me, but he was stirring something to bring her to take me out of the dark. When I was on my knees. See, when I started to seek him and everything became about him, my life changed. So I didn't worry about the financial greatness anymore because the residue was there, but Boston was living like, I don't know if some of y'all ever seen the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, and he got into the position and he bankrupted the wealthy men. See, a lot of people didn't understand something, right? Those men that he bankrupted, the billionaires, when you guys go back, some of y'all, I want y'all to go back and watch Come Into America. Those were the same less fortunate men on the pier when Semi brought all the money in from Africa that he wasn't supposed to, and Eddie took all the money from him and said, you know what, you have done a bad thing. And Eddie went for a walk with the young lady, and he stopped in the middle of the walk and blessed some less fortunate men. Those were the billionaires from Trading Places. Now I'm giving you a story because those guys were hating each other on the pier. They were in there. They were bums now. These were billionaires that was bums. But Eddie blessed them in Coming to America. That's a different movie. So telling you how people don't pay attention. It says we must sit still and study. Sit still so you can see the front of your nose. See, we don't want to sit in silence to learn who we are. He blessed them with the money. And what did he say? He said, Werdimer. He kept hitting him. He said, leave me alone, Randolph. Leave me alone, Randolph. He said, Werdimer. He looked at him. He showed him the wad of money. He said, we're back. We're back. See, some people might have missed that. See, all you have to do, here's what the Most High did for me that I give glory to all day in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me tell you, let me be honest with you. The Most High stripped me, but he left me with this. See, this is the great thing. He stripped me, but he left me with this, and I give glory to him all day, every day. For he is my rock, my shield, and my strong tower. For he is my sounding board. For I will scream hallelujah all the time because he is glorious to me. He left me with this, ladies and gentlemen. He left me with a thinking mind. He left me with the brain, the magnet that can attract all things. So when I started to seek him and I started to get into the ministry deeper and I became a young minister working behind my prophet, the word was unleashed 2 years as I came into the ministry that the wife will walk into my life and exactly how she will look, what she will be doing, what she will be driving in detail prophetically. The woman that he was cooking, that grew up around the corner from Boston and Brooklyn. Boston came from the island to the United States. The woman went from the United States to the island and came back and had to go through her life, had to build an industry, had to be an actress, had to be a model, had to be an author, had to be on Dr. Phil, had to connect with Paris Hilton, had to build a boss mode move, and then connected with me in my journey this way. And I don't believe in a 50-50, ladies and gentlemen. I believe in 100 and 100. See, I don't believe in 50-50. He brought her 100 and he brought me 100. When I say I admire Randy and Wanda, it's because I see that in them. It's because I can look up to a young man who was of my age and I can shake his hand and say, brother, I respect the God in you. And I love how you allow him to lead your family. I respect where you are, where you've gone, and where you continue to go. So I salute you, brother, because you know what? Men must salute real men. It's that simple because we are kings and we carry these shoulders for a reason. They're pillars to stand tall and understand what we are a part of. So I give glory because what he has done for me was so powerful. And when I see I am the vessel that we have, ladies and gentlemen, to take you to the level that you need to go to, why would you have an opportunity like this and sit back and say, I don't know, I don't really want to be a trader. No, I'm just going to trade. I'm not going to tell anybody about that. It's just my thing. I'm really concerned about me. And, I'm going to go and praise God on Sunday. See, you waiting for a whooping because now you operating like the men who got the talents and the one who hid them and hoarded them, in opposed of the one who went and multiplied the talents. See, it is your duty when information like this has come before you. It is your duty, it's your calling. It's already embedded in you for you to exercise the right to expose others. It is your duty. See, your trading career becomes better when you expose someone else. See, some of y'all might not have got that because you might think you're trading real good right now. You might think you're trading real good. See, I learned how to trade 20 years ago in this space, but here's the thing. I don't think I'm a professional. I just think I have some knowledge. What became better is when I met people like Randy, when I met people like Wanda, when I'm walking this walk with my wife, when I met awesome individuals that's on this call right now. See, when I learned that the more I serve, the better I become. The better I become because now I'm not attaching myself emotionally to the markets. I'm not attaching myself emotionally to saying, oh, I need to go out and just bring anybody into business. Now I can approach it the way that I need to approach it. I need to approach it with methodically. I need to approach this in a way that when I expose people, they feel the genuineness in me. When I go to the market, I see the market for what it is, the motion of the market. I can see the trend is my friend. I can go back and look at the year of the market and see that the market would do these things over and repeatedly only if there is a hiccup of someone opening their mouth of major power and a shift has happened. But guess what? That's why we do what we call analysis. So are you doing an analysis with exposing people? Are you doing an analysis on yourself? Because we need to self-analyze every day. What are you doing? Are you analyzing yourself? Are you looking at the woman and the man in the mirror and said, look, I need to expose people to this. I'm being selfish. And my selfishness will allow me to continue to lose in this space because I'm only building up for a bigger fall down. Woo! I'm only building up for a bigger fall down. So if you want to win at a level of which Randy and Wanda is winning, their children are winning. Some of you on this call who have literally let it go and said, I give it to you. Then you need to serve, expose. I challenge all of you today. Expose 10 people to this opportunity. Oh, 10 is so minuscule because we got social media. Let me help some of y'all, the introverts. 10 is so minuscule because we got social media. But if you want to be strong, if you want to say, I got boots on the ground, not only am I going to use social media, but I got to go out to the market. Yes, I got my mask on, so what? I got my gloves on. Some of y'all want to take it that far, but guess what? It doesn't matter. I'm in the markets. I'm going to put on that shirt that said, Pips, pay my bills. I'm going to put on a shirt that's going to make somebody ask me a question. I'm just going to dress real good. I'm going to put on a fine suit because I'm going to the market. Oh, well, you know why? Because I need somebody is going to feel my energy and ask me, what are you dressed for? And I'm going to tell them I'm dressed for life. Let me help you and let me show you how life is. I don't think some of y'all getting me. Randy and Wanda has exposed you all to something amazing. And it's such an amazing thing to be in their presence. Guys, it says that the speed of the leader dictate, right? The speed of the pack. And great leaders, they grow great fruit. Great leaders grow great fruit. When you're under great leadership, you want to continue to hold on, not just tap in, hold on. Though the tree may rock, the tree is still planted so well. That's why it says that the tree is planted by the river of waters that would bring forth its fruit in its time. That's what he was talking about. You got to be planted well. You got to be surrounded by the sand that's like, it's innumerable. So you want to be planted in something that is so fertile, that is so grounded, that when it sprouts out those branches and those leaves come up, guess what? You're one of the branches. And you are exposing it to different leaves. And you know that there'll be different shades and changes in different seasons. So Randy, brother, honestly, I can go on. I so love what you and Wanda represent. And I want to tell you guys, this is the beginning of greatness that has already happened for all of you. I'll say it again. It is the beginning of greatness that has already happened for all of you. The most, Randy, the most wealthy place in the world is the graveyard. It has claimed book knowledge. It has claimed elevation. It has claimed you making that step forward, because some of us don't jump. So Randy, I want to tell them today they need to jump. Legacy worldwide, that's what it represents. You need to jump. It is your birthright. It is your legacy for you to expose, so that you can be a profitable trader, a trader that will elevate to the highest level, a trader that will see that this is bigger than you. So you need to expose others so that you can create generational wealth. Randy, again, brother, my hat's off to you, Rwanda. Thank you very much for allowing me. We would definitely need to conclude a call like this, brother, because and do another session, because I just love you guys. I appreciate you guys for allowing me your time and your ear. I might have taken you over, but I just love Randy and Wanda. You guys have no idea. It's just so much respect for them. I love you guys very much. Love you guys for having me.
And vice versa, Boston. Thank you for blessings on this call. Thank you to you and Beige. You guys are absolute blessing. Listen, you true man of God. I hope the men on this call, you felt that energy, you felt that power, you felt that obedience, and heard that story. You know, one of the things I've always told myself, and we've all had that moment, especially as men, that we have to be humble. Okay, we all have that season in our life, and if you haven't had that season, then that season is going to come if you haven't been humble. And we've all had that time where we elevated to a place and we forgot what got us there, and then we had to be brought back down, right? Had to be pulled back in that retracement 100%, only to give glory back to God, the person who got us to the space that we're in. So I thank you, Boston, for being obedient to your opportunities, for being obedient to God, for coming on here, really mentoring and coaching and guiding this crew here. Thank you for your transparency. I know we had this talk last night. Thank you for truly your transparency. People are hitting me up right now for this recording, by the way. Okay, powerful call, powerful call. So once again, hey, I know you guys are throwing flames and fires in the chat. You know, you guys can unmute yourself. I'll make it where you can unmute yourself. Just give some love here. Unmute yourself. Just give some love here and a shout out.
Yes, sir. Let's go.